So I'm in the middle of moving my desk, guys. It took me nearly a year to realize that it takes up a lot of the space down here, so it feels kind of small. And I decided to move it like right here, which is why I have the measuring tape. This is how it's gonna look for now. We can't wait to see what it'll look like over there so I can have this entire area back to myself like I did a year ago. So yeah, this is the music room. It's basically an unfinished basement. This is originally my sister's basement, which is why you have all the colorful floor pads, kind of like what you saw in kindergarten. I did get made fun of for that quite a few times when I first came down here. I kept it because I like the padding and that I can be able to walk here barefoot. Plus, it gives a colorful little feeling of being down here. I might move these pads around a little bit more someday, just to kind of arrange the colors. So yeah, pretty much I've been down here since 2023, right around this time actually. I can't remember if it was the end of September, October, or November. It was one of those following months since I've been down here. It was shortly after traveling from the East Coast, and everything was just changing quickly, you know, losing bartending becoming a dying gig, inflation outpacing, job opportunities becoming limited. And well, since then I've been down here. It's been totally different since I was first down here and now. I remember the couch used to be right here at the end behind where the desk is now, which is this couch. Man. Every time I look at like the corners, especially like the concrete here, or I look around here and see the concrete wall and the rest of the basement behind it, it just makes me feel like I'm flashing back to like 2023. And not long before that, I was having adventures in New York City. So it kind of does feel like a time travel sometimes. This towel has been here since when I first been down here. I just never really took it down to kind of give it that nostalgia feeling. I have thought of maybe moving it right here, but just the area where it's at just, I don't know, it just makes it feel like how it was when I first got here. The couch, like I said, was originally behind here. This was an empty space for the longest time, but since this big ass desk I bought a year ago has just taken up so much space, it nearly took the center of the basement, and just moving it over here in this empty space just makes it feel way more spacious than ever. I'm just amazed at how gigantic this desk is. This is how the desk looks at this end. As you can see, I get to view the TV. I get to view all the places around it. It's actually a pretty cool space. Speaking of this desk, I bought it a year ago on Facebook Marketplace. This was the chair to the car that I had. I just took it to the junkyard months ago, back in April. I kept the seat and even the back seat as souvenirs. I now really just use this seat to put my guitars on it. I did think I put it as like a sit on the wall kind of thing, but I mostly use this chair to sit and play guitar. I like to move it right here. Sometimes I like to use it on my videos when sitting down telling the studio story. The reason you see all these holes right here is because of when this car sat on it. Because when you look down here, you'll see all those spikes, and they all just hit that pad. I've been trying to figure out how to get this off, but the one bolt out of all of them just got overly rusted. I'm trying to see if I can get a hammer and so I can punk that off. I remember this couch right here, it was over here about a year and a half ago, and I remember this is where most of my videos were recorded and uploaded, was in this position. This was actually when my channel got popular. So having it at this angle, looking at it like this, kind of does make it feel like I'm back in that timeline as well. I remember I wanted to get some privacy, so I put up some blankets and some boxes. I remember the big giant cardboard box that took up half of this space was here for the longest time. I now really just have these blankets so that way I can have some insulation at the slightest, because in the winter months it gets really cold down here. I still remember this one winter in particular like it was yesterday. It was back in February. I was coming home after a freezing rain night, back when the desk was right here. It was very dim light from the cold. I was in the middle of watching Ghost, just randomly watching series. And I remember about an hour and a half of that right after getting off work, I come back upstairs and it's snowing. For some reason, I still remember that winter like it was yesterday. But anyway, the space heater runs right here, and heat will rise. So I like to have it like a little trapped as much as possible. And I think the reason I put that blanket up there was so that way the heat can kind of absorb it the best it can, from what I can remember. I actually wanted to put another one right there, but this is before I had the idea of putting nails on it. But now I just don't really want to do it. Soon I plan to replace these with maybe some of those Japanese wall things that you see on like animes, but I don't know if they can be like that tall or relatively close to it. I like to keep these cardboard boxes right here as it reminds me of what it was like back when I first was down here. I remember there used to be one up here, but it fell down. It's kind of like you come in, it's like a door. So I can also use the lamp on this desk that was on top of this all these times. I now put it right here so that way I can use the lamp. And this is what it looks like. As you can see, it literally kind of feels like you're in space with how dark it is in that one orb of light. And it kind of makes the guitar look a little cool as well. Overall, it just feels like you're far away from the planet and that you're around the sun. And it's just a pretty cool look. This is also the area where I put up my beverages, mostly energy drinks. There's quite a lot of them, but I did spend weeks buying and stacking them. But anytime I'm waking up right an hour before my night shift starts, I'll get up from this couch, pick what I want, get up and grab one, and then put it in the freezer real quick while I shower. So this is one of the windows to the basement. This one in particular has no screen on it, so I like to open it sometimes to have more ventilation, especially in the winter months. The cold air will sink in, the basement's still relatively warmer, so it kind of creates like a bit of a whirlpool ventilation. It only takes like a half hour for it to be ventilated. But I also like to use this as a kitty cat door. The cats have figured out how to get up here. What they like to do is they like to jump on this, and they jump up here, and then they fly out there. It's kind of entertaining to watch, especially when sometimes, like in the middle of the night, I like to open up the window, and one of our cats just comes running in. Boop, boop, boop. One time it brought in a bird that was still alive, which was one of my videos and my highest viewed on the shorts. That was how he did it. He jumped in here through the window. So there's that. Now, the light here can disturb me and keep me from sleeping. So the way I like to do it is I get a cardboard box. I get a couple of them. And I engineered these originally in a way where it can go over the closed area. And then I like to put another one up with the gap in it. But the best way I thought of it all is that I get a nail and I hammer it right on top of this. And I have this area. And then I just slide in there like that, and it's instantly darker. So to show you, this is how dark it'll get right after you put those on there. You can just see how pitch black it is down here already on this side alone. I think what's crazy is that this space alone is nearly the same size of my studio apartment in Miami, Florida I had 4 years ago, if not bigger. Like, it's just crazy how my apartment in Miami was like this size.